views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm Daren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, we'll update you on the latest news in the world of politics as we sit down with political and legal analyst J.C. Polanco. Then, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the National Alliance of Mental Illness will hold their 13th annual NAMI Walks event. We'll learn more about it a little bit later on in the show. And then afterwards, Camp Bronx Fund is having its second annual gala and awards ceremony. More details are coming up. And then next, we're going to sit down with the organizers of the Reclaiming Our Youth concert, aiming to help kids embrace their superpowers through faith. And then we'll chat with the author for This Time It's About Me, Ruth Langhone. And yes, in show still, we also have learned about some resources for veterans seeking career opportunities. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I'm Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, April 24th, and you are watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channel. You can stay connected to us via Twitter at BronxNet TV and also on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Well, a lot has certainly been going on through the past week. We'll take you through it now with some Bronx updates. As the Bronx is home to hip-hop, activists led by Bronx rapper My held a march called Kings Stop Killing Kings in honor of slain rapper and entrepreneur and community activist Nipsey Hussle. Hussle was murdered outside his Los Angeles store. BronxNet correspondent Stephen Powell brings us the story.
The death of Grammy-nominated hip-hop artist Nipsey Hussle was felt throughout the entertainment world and across the nation as it sparked anti-violence groups to rally together in the Bronx.
We're here not just for Nipsey Hussle, it's bigger than Nipsey Hussle, it's what it stands for, and we're here to stand with my son and support the Kings. It's not just about the Kings, it's about the Queens as well.
Los Angeles native Nipsey Hussle, who had gang ties to the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, was violently gunned down outside of his neighborhood clothing store at the age of 33, inciting a rallying cry against street violence, which has received a mass wave of support throughout the country from some of the entertainment world's most renowned activists, one of them being Bronx rapper My who had a profound message for the black community.
We are brothers and sisters, man, and if we continue to take each other out, then we can't fight against the system that is addressed at us. You know, if they killing us and we killing us, then we just dying.
Nipsey Hussle, whose real name was Ermias Ascadam, was more than a rapper. He was also an entrepreneur investing in the education of children in L.A., creating links between young talent from impoverished neighborhoods and Silicon Valley, while serving as an alternative to gang culture in his community with his Vector 90 initiative, a co-working space and STEM program.
What I am in my community, he is in his community, so it really resonated with him. He was telling you not to be violent, he was telling you to be entrepreneurs, he was telling you to educate yourself, he was telling you to be unified, he was telling you everything that is going to be necessary for black and brown people to evolve and be progressive in the future.
Former and current members of rival gangs that included Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings, and the Black Spades joined together in unanimity, forming a peace treaty.
We're here to stand amongst ourselves. You understand? To let the world know that we can, Bloods, Crips, Spades, Manyatas, all of us can stand together and make a difference.
The King Stop Killing Kings march and rally served as a reminder for black men and women to lift each other up and stand unified, while also sending a message that brothers and sisters are kings and queens. Reporting for BronxNet, Stephen Powell.
And thank you, Stephen. In transit news, MTA riders are still getting adjusted to the latest fare hike. The monthly Metro card increased by $6 from $121 to $127, and 7-day unlimited Metro cards rose $1 to $33. Now, single rides remained at $2.75, but the MTA removed the 5-cent purchasing bonus previously offered to riders who paid for at least 2 swipes on a card. MTA officials said the fare hikes were necessary to keep the authority from having to implement significant subway and bus service cuts. Another hike is already in the works for 2021. Well, that's all the time we have for Bronx Updates. We're going to take a quick break. More Open is coming up right after this. And we are back here on Open. According to a survey on post-military employment, nearly 2/3 of veterans say they faced a difficult transition to civilian life. Now, however, workshops and tutorials are in place to help vets throughout their transition. And here now to tell us more about these resources is recruitment researcher Lily H. Lee, and we welcome you to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Good. So when we talk about veterans, of course, it's a big transition already just to come back from being out in service,
Yes.
just to life in general.
Absolutely.
And the hardest part is, I think, one of the things is really acclimating to the job force environment.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to offer a disclaimer, and I want to apologize in advance because I actually haven't been able to secure permission to sit through the Transition GPS Implement workshops. I've been trying for a number of years. But what I understand is that it really doesn't teach the separating and retiring veterans how to deal with the dynamics of the civilian job market, as it were. And so I'm hoping that my tutorials and my sessions here at Lehman College will help to address that gap.
Right.
Yes.
So walk us through a little bit about what a veteran can expect coming into your experience.
So the first thing is obviously, and I'm going to show this book over here, expert resumes for military to civilian transitions. And this is one of the better books I found, really addressing specifically those that are transitioning to civilian jobs. There are certain things that I believe vets should proactively mention on their resumes. I don't know that they're exactly encouraged to do so. And then on the other hand, there are also certain things that I would discourage them from explicitly mentioning that makes them, unfortunately, I believe, less marketable. For example, in the spirit of full disclosure, many applicants will talk about disability, physical disability specifically. But I feel that if it doesn't interfere with your ability to execute the actual job itself, do not mention what I call the D word. And I actually came up with a mnemonic device to help these vets remember what not to put onto their career networking content, which I define as resumes, LinkedIn profiles, and professional biographies, all of which I help them put together.
Right. And so for a person that's a veteran, you're coming into the program,
Yes.
a lot of fear, a lot of trepidation.
Yes,
How
yes.
do you walk them through that first stage? Because there's a lot, as you know, there's a lot of nervousness about whether or not I'm actually going to be able to fit in.
Fit into their next civilian job,
Right.
absolutely. So because I'm a recruitment researcher, I believe very much in doing as much research or due diligence about your potential employer before you actually make the application, okay? So one of the first things that a vet will do, like so many civilian counterparts, by the way, is to go to a job listing aggregator like Indeed.com or Simply Hired and basically apply for all those job postings. Unfortunately, that's not a very effective tactic, because I have yet to meet the person who actually found his or her current job through online applications, unfortunately. All right. So I would recommend that you actually research companies that produce the products or provide the services that match or closely match your MOS, military occupational specialty or classification, all right? There are a number of websites that help you actually identify those specialties in the civilian world where there would be a good match with your military specialty, all right? And then identify the companies that actually produce these products or offer these kinds of services, and they will likely be most interested in your background and special skills. So research first, because it should ideally save you a great deal of aggravation downstream. That's actually my recommendation.
Yeah. You recently served as a contributing editor and
Yes.
to 100 questions and answers about veterans.
So here it is.
There it is right there.
Yes, it's my claim to fame. So some years ago, a friend of mine, Joe Grimm, who's editor-in-residence at Michigan State University School of Journalism, we were catching up and talking about what he's working on, and he's actually overseeing a series that he calls Bias Busters, all right? And basically, it talks about specific demographics in the U.S. that face prejudice or ignorance and all that. And I was talking to him about, well, what about veterans? Because they're so misunderstood. I'm sure many people understand that basically 1% of the U.S. population is basically serving, they and their families. They are basically shouldering 100% of the burden of that service on behalf of the rest of the 99% of us. So when politicians and other public figures talk about the 1% of America, in my mind, it is the veterans and their families. And it's hard for us civilians to understand the service and sacrifice that they make on our behalf, but this is a reminder that freedom is not free. So I, as a longtime New Yorker, especially in the wake of September 11, am profoundly grateful for their service in keeping us all safe and safeguarding our freedoms, all right? So I'd like to think that over the years I've learned about this community and am building up goodwill and trust. So what I do is, here at Lehman, mostly on Sunday afternoons, I meet one-on-one with these vets because everyone is different, and I'm happy to run, workshops and seminars for larger groups, but usually one-on-one, and it's coordinated through the Office of Veterans and Military Affairs, which is overseen by Luis Sotero Rodriguez, great guy. He himself is a vet, and there's also a veterans club here at Lehman College, and so these meetings are set up, and I basically hear from the vets themselves. What are you looking for? Is it an internship for a specific time period or a job after you graduate? And then we go through the process of, first things first, it's your resume. You show me your copy, I'm gonna walk you through, offer you suggestions and critique it, because in my time as a recruiter and sourcer, which is what my industry calls it, a recruitment researcher is known as a sourcer. I have literally plowed through thousands of LinkedIn profiles and thousands of resumes in my time.
Yeah, and so we want to make sure the veterans take advantage of it now. So
Absolutely.
So Lily, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. We're going to give the information out right now.
Yes.
Now, if you're a veteran that wants more information, you may contact Lily at the email below. And then also, we got to take a quick break. We're going to have more show coming up after this. But thank you, Lily, for coming and being with us.
My pleasure.
All righty, Lily Lee. We'll be right back right after this. And we are back here on Open. Camp Bronx Fund has a mission to send low-income Bronx kids to an accredited sleepaway camp for 2 weeks in the summer. Let's check out this clip.
You know, when I think about camp, I think about the really amazing and unique experience or opportunity it provides for campers. It is unlike anything else a lot of our kids have in kind of their day-to-day experience, and certainly not something that the school can provide.
Hi, my name is Icy and I'm from the Bronx. I like coming to camp because everybody here is nice and I make a lot of friends and all the counselors are really nice.
And my favorite thing to do at camp is swimming and doing music production, and I also like to get to know a lot of other people.
And so camp exists in the now in a way that other environments really don't these days. And so it's wonderful when children have the ability, have the opportunity to come to camp and just live in this moment that's theirs.
It's a place where they can be whoever they want to be, and the sky's the limit. So pushing their comfort zone and getting to try new things and just see all the specialness that they have.
I would say just the experience, because like not a lot of New York people experience nature and like meeting different people from around the world. Like a lot of our counselors are like from around the world, like Australia, South Africa, like many different places, and it's very cool to meet different people, so you should come.
Well, if Camp Bronx Fund sounds exciting, I want to let you know. Co-founder Linda Chase is here with us, and guess what? She's going to tell us a little bit about it, and we saw some great things there. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you for the opportunity of talking to an audience about the Camp Bronx Fund. Initially, we started with a mission to send as many low-income children from the Bronx to camp, to sleepaway camp for 2 weeks in the summer. We found that children in the Bronx didn't have the same opportunities as their sisters and brothers in better areas, and we wanted to equalize the playing field. Mm-hmm. So we chose 3 camps. One camp specifically takes children from homeless shelters, and that's Camp Homeward Bound. Then we have Camp Trailblazer, and then Camp Hidden Valley, which is a fresh air fund camp. Mm-hmm. And each one of these camps has different experiences for the children. They're very structured experiences, and they do different things every day. Some children have swimming pools at their camps and actually sleep in buildings. Some children sleep in tents, and teepees actually, not even tents, they're actual teepees. And some of the children actually sleep in wagons, covered wagons, and they circle around a campfire. Mm-hmm. And this is how they spend 2 weeks in their summer. This is totally different for children coming from the Bronx. What we've noticed in our interviews last summer is that a lot of the Bronx children don't even leave a 5-block area. Mm-hmm. So when they get on this bus right. and they start going to upstate New York or they start going to New Jersey, they start to meet different people and their horizons expand. And this is really what we want to do. We want to expand their horizons and show them that there's a different way of living and that the urban structure is not the only choice.
Right. And so when they go outside, of course, the exposure makes all the difference in the world, right? So you're giving these kids a certain amount of exposure, and for 2 weeks, it happens. At the end of the 2 weeks, talk to us about, is there any follow-up? What goes on from there? How do things go?
Yes, well, the reason why we chose 3 camps is that we do want to track the children, and it's easier because we've developed relationships with the camps, and we can follow them through the winter, and we hope that they will want to return in the summertime. And Scope, who is actually the organization that picks in the process of vetting the children, has their own program to watch and to see how they progress. And we have another camp that we've worked with, Deborah Garcia and myself, who's the other co-founder, and that's Camp Brooklyn. And what we found is that through Camp Brooklyn, we've noticed that the campers stay on with the camps and then they do become camp counselors. So at that point, there is this tracking process and that the children do want to give back. And that's what we're hoping to do with Camp Bronx.
Yeah, and I know that you have your Gala Awards ceremony coming up. Talk to us about that.
Yes. We, on May 1st at F.A.I M in the Bronx, we're having our second annual gala and award.
Frankie and Johnny's.
Frankie and
Don't know,
Johnny's,
right?
yes. Everybody loves Frankie and Johnny's. And we're going to have our second gala there. And we're honoring Deputy Inspector Ernest Morales, and Vanessa Salcedo. And Vanessa is working with children and trying to get them to reduce diabetes in the community. So she's working with a beverage-free zone. So they are bringing with them a whole new group of supporters who are going to help us launch off the program for this summer. Now, last summer, our goal was to send 10 children to camp. What we actually did is send 20. And now we're on target to send 40 this year, and we'd love to sell more tickets.
Yeah. So if people want to do that, how can they support? What do they do?
They can go to our website at campbronx.org. They can learn about us. They can learn about the camps from that, and also the applications for the campers is on our website. And then parents or teachers that want to help, they can actually help the campers fill out the applications and have them sent out to the camps for review.
I think that a lot of kids are looking forward to having a healthy summer, and you're going to benefit a lot of kids who've never had that experience before. So we thank you and keep up the great work.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Linda Chase, founder of Camp Bronx Fund, and I want to let you know, if you want to help out and be of assistance, the second annual gala and award ceremony is taking place from 6 to 10 p.m. Wednesday, May the 1st. Now, learning more, go to campbronx.org. Taking a quick break. Stay tuned when we come back. Political analyst J.C. Polanco joins us in studio. Coming up next.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment. A moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, kooky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count because every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
A lot has certainly been going on in the world of politics. The long-awaited Mueller report talks of President Trump's impeachment, a Bronx Republican preparing to take Congressman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's possible seat. And here now to discuss this and much more is political and legal analyst J.C. Polanco. But J.C., we start off with breaking news right here in the borough of the Bronx. A lot of stuff happening around here by way of Congressman Serrano's open seat coming soon.
Man, I knew about 20 years ago that the day Congressman Serrano decides to step down, it will be the mother of all successions. I mean, think about it. This is the Bronx. This is the South Bronx congressional seat. This is a seat that's historically been the poorest congressional seat in the country. You have tons of qualified, excited, ambitious politicians that are ready to go to Congress. Many of them who were taken aback last year with AOC's victory, beating the powerful Joe Crowley. Many of them now see themselves as a congressperson, perhaps senator, who knows, maybe president down the road. You know, things happen when people like AOC and Donald Trump win. Everybody thinks they can do it. And now in the Bronx, we're fortunate to have some qualified people. You know, Councilman Diaz has set up a campaign account. Senior, that is.
Right.
So everybody's not
junior,
not
senior,
the borough
right.
president. You have Councilman Richie Torres has announced. You have, BronxNet guest regularly, Jonathan Ortiz has announced. Last night we just got word that Assemblyman Michael Blake is formally announcing his run for Congress. This is an exciting field. I was thinking about running, but then Councilman Diaz Sr. threw in his race, and I realized we're going to have to split the cabbie vote. We have to split the church vote, and then he has more of a BronxNet fan base than I do. So I had to step back.
So that's why we got you here. That's why we got you here.
But I think it's going to be exciting when you have Assemblyman Blake with the DNC and connections, and the former President Obama connections. He just ran for public advocate, and then you have the base that Councilman Diaz has. I think, remember, you're running against a guy who has buildings named after him, who has thousands of church congregants. This is going to be a real race in this primary. I want to see what's going to happen. It's going
to be very interesting. As you said, I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez getting in and defeating Congressman Crowley opens up a door of potential, or at least opportunity, for a lot of people.
A lot of people, for everything. I mean, I even applied to the Yankees to see if I could try out for first base at this point. That's how exciting I am.
Talk to me about, we're forgetting one name possibly.
What's that?
Michael Benjamin.
Oh, Michael Benjamin has retired, man. He has gone into former Politicians Anonymous.
Yes.
And he is not thinking about this. He's excited about being a brand new dad, and he's writing a great deal at the New York Post, and he's living the life.
That's why we put it out there, so Michael Benjamin has to call in one day while you're here. We'll be able to get it going. But everybody's literally running. The other news, let's go to national news and talk about the Mueller report. Yep. Obviously, America finally got a chance to put their hands and get a chance to hear a lot that was said on the Mueller report. Your take?
I think, look, I'm writing a piece right now, an op-ed that I think would be very interesting. Viewers could check it out at jcpolanco.com in the next couple of days. I think, everyone has a hero. I think Robert Mueller is a hero. And like all heroes, Robert Mueller let us down. I mean, my heroes, Toussaint Louverture and Dr. King, they weren't perfect men. They've made mistakes. Robert Mueller made a mistake here. He let the American people down. He had an opportunity here to set the record straight. And what he did was he's muddied the waters. As of today, in my opinion, he is no better than Jim Comey in 2016. When Jim Comey came out and indicted Hillary Clinton in the court of public opinion, Robert Mueller has indicted the president in the court of public opinion and failed to give us any real direct recommendations in his report. He says there's no collusion, but then there's no explanation as to why all of these people in his circle lied about their contacts with Russia and what that means. He really didn't tell us anything about it. Does the fact that these people were agents for his campaign, does that imply that the campaign must have been responsible? He never said there is no direct line between any agents of the campaign. I think everybody here that watches the show knows that a spokesperson has the legal requirement to be very careful when speaking on behalf of the principal, because they are in essence an agent of the principal.
Absolutely.
Now, and a second thing is this. We're told that no one's above the law. Well, clearly, after reading this, and it took me a long time to read it, I don't know how everybody on Facebook read it in one day, all these Facebook lawyers running around with the legal opinions. I'm an attorney. It took me a week to get through this thing. Look, there were about 11 to 12 times where Robert Mueller says these are cases of obstruction of justice. But it is what it is. I mean, you got to tell us what's going on. I'll give you an example. If you tell someone to lie on your behalf, that's obstructing an investigation. Every lawyer in the universe knows that you can obstruct an investigation without there being an underlying crime. I think Mr. Mueller should have said, listen, because he's president of the United States, this is not a question for me to indict him. This is a question for Congress. But the way that this stuff is worded is so muddied, it's so unclear. It leaves it up to whoever to decide, and it's just not fair. He's divided the country further. He could have said, look, these are indictable offenses, but for him being president, which, by the way, for the viewers to know, the DOJ says you cannot indict a sitting president. And I hope everybody knows why. If you had a renegade prosecutor, indicting a sitting president could create a coup d'etat. Yeah. There are reasons why we can't indict a sitting president. We leave it up to Congress. But, man, say it. You didn't say it. You indicted the president on the court of public opinion and then said there's nothing you can do and you're not sure. That's not good enough. The president, in all fairness, we didn't see a crime that he committed directly. There is no talk about him having colluded with Russia. So when he says, hey, I'm clear, he's kind of right. And when the Democrats say, no, you're not, there are 11 times here where you've clearly obstructed justice, they're right. So we are in a conundrum, and I think it's time for us to realize Mr. Mueller let us down.
Now, was it his responsibility to say that there should have been charges?
Absolutely. He had a job to do. He says he should have said these are indictable, but for he was president. Or he's not indictable because these are not crimes and this wasn't an obstruction. But he didn't. He muddied the waters, and it's unfair.
So for somebody's out here watching saying, listen, the Attorney General said...
No, the special prosecutor.
I mean, special prosecutor. No, Mueller's a special prosecutor, right?
Yeah.
Then who read the report at the
Barr.
end? Right, so there we go. Barr
that's it,
says...
I'm sorry.
That's what... Here we go. Follow me now.
I am.
Barr says, I'm not indicting, right? I'm not doing that. So is it Mueller's job to say to Barr, listen, this is what needs to be done? Or does Barr just look at the report and say, you know what, he didn't say anything, so since he didn't say anything, this is why I'm not saying anything. Is that how it went?
I think, Barr made a mistake, too. And I put
Well,
Barr
Barr
to
is
the side.
self-appointed, too.
No, Barr is appointed, and he wants to please his principal, and I understand. But when you hear what Barr says and when you read the report, there's two different things there. I mean, we clearly get from the report that one of the reasons why there was nothing indictable in the obstruction of justice is because evidence was either destroyed, testimony was never given, Mueller was never able to bring the president down to ask him questions directly. 31 times the president says he doesn't recall in the written questions. There are reasons why he says, and then Barr says, oh, well, there's nothing here. I think that's unfair. I think, look, both Barr and Mueller have really muddied the waters. The American people deserved better. And unfortunately, we're left back in square one. Now the Democrats have a lot of thinking to do.
Yeah, well, let me double back to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez before we cut out. Bronx Republican says that they're going to go ahead and run against her in 2020. Your thoughts?
Full disclosure, I am a Bronx Republican, and I think that's...
And it's not you, right?
It's not. No, it's not going to happen. But it's an impossible seat for Republicans to win. The numbers are just not there. Look, I know you can have the rebirth of Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln, as a Republican running in that district against Mickey Mouse, would lose because of the numbers. But look, this is a great opportunity for someone to contest AOC's positions on the economy, on politics, on the future of the American people's aspirations. And I think that you're going to have a lot of money in the race. I think it's going to be exciting and national, and BronxNet's going to cover it, and there's going to be a lot of buzz. But at the end of the day, it's going to be very tough because of the numbers, not because of the quality of the candidate.
All right, J.C. Polanco, as always, good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, take a quick break. Stay tuned with more Open. Got more show coming up right after this.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody.
So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
And we are back here on Open. Thank you for staying with us. Reclaiming Our Youth, better known as ROY, Light in Darkness, is an annual concert held at Harvest Fields Community Church. The organizers facilitating this concert also run a sports mentoring program for youth called Focused Achievement, Intellect, and Motivation, aka F.A.I.M Inc. And here now to tell us more about the upcoming concert and F.A.I.M are the co-founders and co-directors of F.A.I.M Inc. and Roy's Children's Ministry, Russell White and Rose Eve White. And good to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Good. So when we talk about this here, really depositing into the hearts of young people, and you guys got the organization F.A.I.M. I want you to talk about how F.A.I.M got started.
So basically about 5 years ago, we're both educators. You know, I'm a teacher and she's a guidance counselor. And a lot of our children who were graduating were like, we need something else to connect. We need a place to connect. We need a safe haven. So we use basketball as a way to get them into the gym. And we use it as a way to just depositing hope. You know, we're talking about consequential thinking. We're talking about discipline. We're talking about leaving places better than how you found them. You know, just trying to use basketball to get them engaged. And then every week we're just planting some sort of seed of hope and faith into them. So that started about 5 years ago, and we do that the first 3 Saturdays of every month at Bronx River Community Center.
Share with me a little bit about what F.A.I.M actually stands for, the acronym.
Focus, Achievement, Intellect, and Motivation. So those are the 4 pillars of the actual program.
And when we talk about focus, what do you want young people to focus on?
So basically, we're thinking about their life on and off the court. As you know, you can't be successful on the court if you're not doing what you need to do in the classroom.
Right.
So we're talking about character. We're talking about integrity, doing the right thing when no one's watching.
Right.
You know, you never know when someone's watching, so you always want that best version of yourself to put forward. So we want all of our participants to know, listen, you need to be focused. You need to strive to achieve. You need to use your brain on and off the court.
Right.
And you need to be motivated. People can't tell you to go and put in work. You need to put in work because you want to get better.
Right. And the importance of doing well academically, always having a backup plan.
Talk to me a little bit about your concert. You got a concert coming up, huh?
So an opportunity presented itself shortly after we started F.A.I.M and to lead our children's ministry at Harvest Fields. So there we were able to expand the program for the mentoring piece and add a performing arts component to it, where we were able to implement yoga classes, hip-hop choreography, praise dancing. We actually teach the children how to write their own music. We have a studio where they take the same music that is out in society right now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negative messages in those in that music, and take those music, and switch it around and create their own, lyrics and songs to those music those.
And to piggyback on that, that's what ROY actually stands for. Yeah. It stands for Reclaiming Our Youth. If you think about the music, you think about the video games, you think about the TV shows, everything that our youth likes, a lot of times the enemy is trying his way to creep in. So we're using those same mediums to plant seeds of hope, to plant seeds of love, to plant seeds of faith, because we want to leave the next generation with something that, it's not just about what I can get from the deal, but what I can also offer others.
And so there's going to be some music videos, and talk to us about that.
So, me, I like to rap, and that's actually, that was my safe haven. Just taking, at first it started with taking industry songs that really weren't positive, because we have a son and a daughter, and I didn't want my child coming home sending things that really were just negative or really not glorifying. So we started off by taking the industry beats and putting positive messages on it, and now it's to the point where our son and daughter are both engineering and writing their own music now, and they're getting a pretty good following, because now, so this concert is a way of showcasing that being in God doesn't necessarily mean wearing a 3-piece suit and always being stiff.
Right. And you can't have swag.
Right.
You can have love. You can rap. You can have your little swag. But as long as you know that it's about love.
Right.
Love can overcome anything, and we want them to walk away with that idea, and that's what LIGHT stands for. Living in God's heavenly truth.
So talk to us about young people out there that want to actually be a part. There might be someone out there that says, a parent says, listen, I want to connect. Sounds like what you're doing is very positive.
So we are on Facebook, so they can follow us on Facebook at F.A.I.M Inc. At Facebook and on Instagram as well. Our program is on Saturdays at Bronx River Community Center, the first 3 Saturdays for the basketball component. But for ROY, they would just have to come to the church. Our church is very welcoming. They can come every Wednesday. We have our program at 7 o'clock at Harvest Fields, 2626 East Tremont Avenue. And it's an amazing church. We're very welcoming, and everyone is welcome to attend.
Come as you are.
And come as you are.
Come as you are. That's what we like. So listen, May 31st is the concert, right?
Yes, sir.
Friday,
So,
yeah.
so walk us through again, May 31st.
Yes.
And so want to let you Harvest Fields Community Church, 2626 East Tremont in the Bronx, New York. And
Yes.
thank you for all the great work that you guys
Thank
are doing
you
in the
for having
community,
us.
impacting young people. And good to have you. Come on back again.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
righty
you.
then. Russell and Eve White, co-founders, co-directors of F.A.I.M Incorporated. Are y'all related?
Husband and wife.
Why didn't you say that? I mean, I know that. Why didn't you tell us that? All right, well, listen. The Reclaiming Our Youth concert will take place at 7 p.m. at May 31st, Harvest Fields Community Church, located 2626 East Tremont, as I said before. Now, if you want more information, all you have to do is go to roycmhfcc@gmail.com. Once again, roycmhfcc@gmail.com. And for more information on F.A.I.M Incorporated sports and mentoring programs, email famesportsmentoring@gmail.com or definitely follow them on Facebook at F.A.I.M Inc. Don't go anywhere. Got more open coming up right after this.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
And welcome back. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and every year the National Alliance on Mental Illness holds NAMI Walks NYC to raise funds in order to continue providing mental health education, support groups, and public advocacy for those in need. Now, here to talk a little bit more about it, Christina Bradley, Manager of Support Programs at NAMI NYC, and Tanya Robinson, NAMI NYC volunteer, and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you. So when we talk about mental illness, of course, it's mental illness awareness. And when we talk about awareness, right, give me the first thing that I think that comes to mind that people should know when it comes to mental health awareness.
Yeah, I think the first thing to know is that it really is a shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 in 5 Americans experience a mental health condition each year. The other 4 are their family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or any other diagnosis, living with a mental health condition can be very difficult. It's hard to navigate services. It's hard to know what you're dealing with sometimes. So at NAMI, we really try to help folks navigate that challenge by providing support, advocacy, and public education, not just for people living with mental illness, but also for their family members and their friends. So our services are free. They are open to anyone. They're led by peers, which is a really important piece to sort of breaking through the stigma that comes with mental health, and they're evidence-based.
And Tanya, you do a lot of volunteering, so
Yes.
talk to us about the work that you do.
Okay. So one thing I do is I'm on the NAMI helpline. So people can call in or email questions that they may have. A lot of times family members are coming out of the hospital and their loved ones don't know what to do. It's like, okay, they got diagnosed and now they need to be treated. What's the next step? And that's where NAMI comes in. We have support groups that people can attend. We also have classes such as the peer-to-peer class, which is for people who are living with a mental illness to learn, to basically give them more of a mental health awareness about their diagnosis.
And so we have a walk coming up.
We do.
Talk
our
to us.
annual walk.
Mhm.
Yes, on Saturday, May 11th. It's our 13th walk. And it's really just about raising awareness about mental health and, of course, raising funds so that we can keep serving the New York City community. So we'll be at South Street Seaport, and anyone can join us. It's free to join. You can also fundraise for us. I know Tanya has her own fundraising effort going strong. And so you're welcome to join us, and you can find more about that at NAMI Walks.
How you fundraise? What's your fundraising?
Okay, so if you go to NAMI Walks NYC.org and you put my name in, Tanya, under fundraiser search, there's a box. And you put in my name, Tanya Robinson, you can donate to my fundraising efforts.
Oh, okay. So you got your own there. So link on and then drop something for you. You heard that, right? Okay. So year-round, obviously, a lot of work goes around. What are some of the things maybe that we're not paying attention to that we should pay attention to as a public?
Well, I think, again, it's important to remember that the person next to you might be someone dealing with some sort of mental health condition, and if not, they might be, a family member or a friend of someone who is. So I think it's really important to sort of remember that shared experience, and also to keep in mind that the stigma is something that we have to break through, because in order to actually help people and help each other through this, we have to let go of some of those assumptions about what mental health really is.
And for those stigmas, what are some of the more common and more prevalent stigmas that maybe we need to really be tackling and breaking down?
Yeah, so I'd love to hear Tanya's thoughts on sort of what she
Well, actually, I was just thinking, one thing we have is there's Homefront, which is for the family members and caregivers of people living with a mental illness who are in the military or veterans, so that they can get help to help their loved one. I think that's a good, I believe it's a 6-week class, is it? With Homefront. And I think that's a good thing for the families of veterans.
Yeah, so I think really just breaking through stigma is about education, right? So understanding really what mental health conditions are and what it means to live with one, and that recovery is possible. It isn't linear, but it is possible, and that there are people and organizations like NAMI out there to help you through that process.
So for more people want more information about NAMI, what do they do?
You go to our website. So you can go to NAMINYC.org to learn more about our programs and services. And then about the walk, you can go to NAMI Walks NYC.org.
How's it feel for you being able to be a fundraiser and support NAMI in that kind of way?
I'm happy to do it. I've been with NAMI for a couple of years now, volunteering. I also use some of their services. They have a poetry workshop. That's one of our groups that they have, when we write poetry, and we actually participate every year at the New York Poetry Festival in Governor's Island.
So you got a lot going on.
Yeah, we have all kinds of support groups, from poetry workshops to bipolar support, yoga. It really runs the gamut.
Well, Tanya, Christina, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for the great work that you guys continue to do.
Thank you.
Come back again and see us, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. NAMI Walks NYC 13th Annual 5K Walk is taking place at 9 a.m. on Saturday, May 11th at the South Street Seaport. Now, if you do want more information and you want to participate, all you have to do is go to NAMIWalks.org. And guess what? We'll be back. We've got more show. Taking a quick break. We thank Tanya and Christina, and we'll be back right after this. Thank you.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
And we are back. I'm telling you about a book. It's called This Time It's About Me. It's a 60-day journey to discover how the Bible addresses modern-day struggles. Joining us now to share a little bit more is Ruth Langhone, who is also the pastor, motivational speaker, and the author of This Time It's About Me. And welcome.
Thank you.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Well, I want it to be about me. So you tell me about you.
It is
and
right
how to make,
about now.
Right. Thank you. Well, tell me about your devotional. Obviously, it's really about self-care and putting self first too, right?
Yes, it is. This book was inspired. I'm a mom of 8 children.
No.
Yes.
Get out. Okay.
And so for a long time, I didn't know how to focus on me because all of my love, my heart, everything went to everyone else. And so the Lord really dealt with me about writing something for women to motivate them through scripture, to learn how to look at themselves and see themselves and understand who they are. It's called identity. And you won't find identity unless you begin to know who you are and whose you are.
So walk me back a little bit. So you're taking care of kids, right? You're a mother, you're having life, but it seems like life is escaping you because you're taking care of everybody else?
My attention is on everybody else, making sure everybody else is okay. But I have dreams and I have things that were placed in me that I couldn't identify because I was so focused on everybody else.
So walk us through the devotional. What do people learn, more specifically about how to care for self?
Right. Taking time out for you. A lot of times I think there's a guilt in caregivers, moms. They feel like if they take a moment for themselves, they're being selfish. But self-care is not selfish, it's stewardship. You must learn how to take care of you. You must learn how to steward yourself in order to help anybody else. So we get lost sometimes.
Yeah. And so you also got a book signing coming up?
I do, I'm super excited about that. Yeah, it's this Saturday at the Mount Haven Bar and Grill.
Mount Haven, right.
Yes, it's in the Bronx, 1 Bruckner Boulevard. We're gonna have an amazing time. It's gonna be a lot of community coming together, other moms and people who are just excited about this book. The other author, the co-author of this book is Michelle Lazarick. She won't be able to make it, but I'm gonna lift her up and begin to push her too because she was a essential part of helping me create this book.
So I take it with what you're saying, there had to be some sort of a breaking point for you?
It was.
Okay, where was that? When was that?
Yeah, I think it was probably when my oldest son, because my oldest son is turning 27 next year. And I started the church and God spoke to me and he said, I've called you to do more. My children are getting older and I need you to help women find out that there's more inside of them. The struggle you went through, the halt you went through, I don't want other women to go through that. I want you to begin to reveal your walk and tell your story. Build a community because there's a lot of you out there that I'm calling to do more, to write books, to begin to start your business. I'm heavy into entrepreneurship. I call it mompreneurs. I gather all the mompreneurs together and I want you to motivate them and really begin to encourage them. Be what you didn't have because I didn't have people to motivate me. I was stuck in a rut of raising children.
And was there a point where you were just frustrated in the process? Not saying that you don't love your kids, right? Because I tell people it's not that you don't love your kids, but was there a point where you became like frustrated and said, listen, you know what, this is just too much?
Exactly. My thought was there has to be more. There has to be more. And so in finding out, really beginning to do an inner search, and the only way I could do that was really asking God, show me and show me what you have for me. And through that, searching through scriptures, I found out there was more inside of me that God didn't, we go through seasons in life and sometimes we get stuck in seasons. And that's what was happening with me. I got stuck in this season and I thought there was no more, but I had to press past my thoughts and I had to push past the process and then realize there was a promise that was connected to me that God wanted me to go all the way through with. But
so walk me through women, right? Women are out here watching right now. And there might be a mom because, we're in the middle of the day, they're taking care of kids. What do you tell them right now about taking care of self in the midst of all of that?
Right. I would tell them, take a moment. I have a mommy to me planner that I put together, and I tell them, do you plan for you? You plan for everybody else. You need to take a minute and really begin to examine, because that's what I had to do. What are you doing for you? Are you examining where you are? Are you happy? Are you sad? What's going on with you? This month is all about mental illness, right? But a lot of times mental health turns into mental illness because we're not healthy in our minds. And it's because of identity crisis. We don't know who we are. So I begin to tell them to plan. Come sit down and talk with me. I can walk you through this journey, because that's exactly what I'm on, a journey, and finding out who I really am.
So what are the next steps for you? I mean, you got the book coming out, you got a book signing. What do you see coming up in the future?
Well, after this book was birthed, I got several more coming. I'm already working on book number 2.
Okay.
Which is called Shepherd's Rod and Sheep Bites, because I'm a pastor of D3 Ministries. D3, yay, yay. And I love my church, my tribe, and we're going to be working on that, talking about just the active, being a pastor versus being a sheep, and the walk in that, because I was a sheep being led, and I knew that the rod that was being hit by the shepherd was kind of hard sometimes, but now that I'm a pastor, I understand the firmness of that happening, as well as the sheep going through processes. So we're going to write a book about that. And I also have tons of workshops coming up for moms. I have a mompreneur guide, how to walk through social media and learn how to get yourself out there, especially a person like me who was very secluded. My kids were my best friend, and so I had to break through some of that boxed in being alone. And so this guide that I created, because I'm a mom, so I'm a planner. I plan everything out for my kids, and I learned how to do that for me, will help other moms be able to step out and be bold and begin to do what they've been called to do.
So if somebody can't come to the book signing, how do they get your stuff?
Right. You can go to my website, which is ruthlanghone.com, and get in contact with me. I love to engage with people. So as soon as you message me on ruthlanghone@gmail.com, I'll get back to you. You can reach me on Facebook. It's Mommy to Me, and as well as Mommy to Me on Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Best wishes. Mott Haven Bar and Grill. They've got the book signing. Congratulations to you. And I want to let you know, the Mott Haven Bar and Grill is actually hosting that book signing with Ruth Langhone from 12 to 3. And yes, it's Saturday, April the 27th. This Saturday, this time, it's About Me.
Yes.
It's also available on Amazon. Now, for more information, visit, as she said, ruthlanghone.com. Now, we've come to the end of our show today. Busy show. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us, but most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67. If you don't have Optimum and you're on Verizon Fios, that's Channel 33, or watch us anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. Special shout out to all those who watch, as Open is also broadcast live simultaneously on the MNN channel. So say hello to my sister Ann. That about wraps it up for us here on the set of Open. I'm Daren Jaime. Make sure to keep this channel wide open.
Happy birthday!
Yes, thank you. All right, my birthday was yesterday, but it's my first day back. Thank you. Thank y'all. Oh, thank you. Oh.